Hey everybody, welcome to It Tastes Different Appetizer. Today we're going to discuss Bethesda's marketing director, P. Hines, apologizing to Sony. Let's get into it. So let's go to Patrick first. I want to hear his feelings about Sony's feelings about not getting Starfield.
I'm not sure there's much feelings here, but yeah, he says he understands. But you know what he really wanted to say? He wanted to say, suck it, Jim. But, you know, I'm sure Microsoft and they're wanting everybody to play ball nice. So I'm sure it's, you know, who knows what it is. But he basically said that he told fans he understands that they're frustrated and that, you know, he apologized because he's, you know, people just, there's not a whole lot he can do about it in general, really. I mean, they're not, he don't run the business. He's basically their marketing director. He's the big boss of marketing for them. So he says he understands. You know, people are going to be upset no matter what you do. I mean, yeah, they could have put it out on everything and nobody's going to be upset. But it's part of me is understands that and part of me doesn't. Part of me goes, PlayStation's kind of a weird ecosystem, right? Their fans are very fervent and very loud and outspoken. And so can Microsoft fans. But it seems like more often than not, Sony is like, we don't need Microsoft games because we got yada, yada, yada. And now it's something everybody wants to play. And it happens every time something like this comes out. They're like, this isn't fair and all this. And, you know, part of me says, get a PC, play it on PC, get an Xbox if you want to play it. Whatever you need to do to play it. And if you really want to play it that bad, you'll get it, which I'm sure that's what Bethesda and Microsoft are thinking. They're like, if you want to play it, come over to the Microsoft side. Sony would say the same thing. If you want to play our game, come over to the Sony side. If you want to play God of War, buy a PlayStation. They're not going to pay. I don't think I've ever, has anybody, you know, what things will come around when you guys return. Has anybody ever heard Jim Hines or anybody at PlayStation say, we're sorry, Microsoft Xbox owners. I understand, but this is not on your console.
No,
I guarantee you Sony.
They'd say, suck it, Bill.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what Sony would say every time. That's what they think every time. But, you know, I mean, it's funny that he took the time to come out with an apology. I feel a little bit like, what? That's all I can think of when I saw that. The first headline was that I saw was that, you know, Bethesda exec says he's sorry for no Starfield on PS5. And I'm like, why? But no, that's just me. I was a little bit confused and I read into it. And I'm like, okay, the actual text of because I think it was an interview with GameSpot is where that came out of. But Nick, what do you think, man? What do you think about this Bethesda coming out and saying they're sorry for this not going to be on PS5?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they shouldn't have to. Like you said, Pat, they shouldn't have to apologize. What are you apologizing for? As soon as Microsoft bought Bethesda, you know, a lot of the talk online was, are these games going to come to PlayStation? And I figured, no, they're not. I mean, Microsoft spent a ton of money. Why would they put? I mean, yes, you could say, well, they want to put them on there so they can get sales. No, they want you to come to Game Pass. That's why. You know, I mean, this, you know, that's their biggest thing. They want to sell you software and they want you to sell you this subscription model. So why they want to put these Bethesda games on Game Pass, and that's the only place you can play them, right? Regardless if you have a PC or an Xbox or whatever. I mean, you can go out and buy the physical copies or the digital copies if you don't have Game Pass, of course, but they mainly want you to buy that subscription model. And that's a perfect way to do it, right? And of course, that's what they're going to do. So there's no reason to apologize. I mean, if you are a PlayStation fanboy or, you know, PlayStation is only for you, you know, all of us, we own all the systems. We want to play everything. So we don't care where it goes. We own the system to play that. But if you're that way, just like Pat said, go out and get Game Pass. You know, if you have a PC that can run it, cool. Just buy the Game Pass subscription just for the PC port, which is like, what, $10? And you can play as much Starfield as you want. Or go out and buy an Xbox Series X or S. You know, maybe you're not a big fan of Xbox, go buy the S model. That's cheap. And get Game Pass with it. Usually they come with a free, you know, 3-month subscription or whatever anyway in the box. And just play it. And then, you know, if you like Game Pass, continue your subscription. If not, don't. But, I mean, there's no reason to be angry about it. I mean, it's a part of the market. You know, it's a part of the corporations. Every corporation, even Sony, Exactly what you said. Sony would do the same thing. If it was flipped the other way, Sony would say, no, we're not going to put these on Xbox. You have to buy a PlayStation. And the same thing with Microsoft. So either side, and both sides would complain, right? There's no denying that. So just play it on where you want to play, or just own all the systems. I know they're expensive and everybody can't do that. But I mean, you can buy, or you could potentially buy, if you bought a PlayStation, maybe a year later, you buy an Xbox, right? You don't have to buy them back to back. That's, I think, a lot of people think about too, is, I had to have one and then I got to go out and buy another one. Well, no, not right away. You can go buy another one later. So, by the time Starfield comes out, which is like towards the end of 2020, almost into 2023, by that time you could probably get yourself an Xbox or a nice gaming PC to play this on, and then play the other Bethesda games that are going to come out. So, yeah, I mean, there's no need to apologize. I think they're just trying to play nice, like you said. But kind of, you don't need to apologize. It's a part of the industry. It is what it is, and deal with it. That's my thought.
What about you, Shane?
I mean, you guys aren't wrong on any aspect. I mean, suck it, Sony. I mean, you constantly do this. You constantly take games like Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's Sony exclusive. I mean, for God knows how long, I don't know. You take companies, you do the same thing. I think where this one differs is Starfield was just such an anticipated game for every gamer. And I understand, and I do. I mean, if I only had one system and this happened and I am not going to get it on my system, it would suck a butt. It really would. But like Nick said, Game Pass. If you got a PC, most people do. Game Pass. And a game probably, if you got a good PC, game will probably play better on damn PC. But there is no reason for them to come out and apologize for something that everybody's done for decades in the game industry. Game industry developers buy, or publishers buy developers. Game companies like Sony have been doing it. Microsoft's been doing it. And, Nintendo, God knows what they do. But that's just the nature of the beast. There was no reason for them to apologize. It's sweet, but it's BS. I mean, it was to appease whiny Sony ponies. And Xbots were crying when Final Fantasy Remake was only for them, or Spider-Man in the Avengers game was only for Sony. Xbots were whining about that. We whined about it because that's a little above the normal BS that these companies do, in our opinion. But stop whining. It's going to be okay. Starfield, you will be able to play somewhere else if you so choose to. If you were so diehard on playing it, whining ain't going to get it on PlayStation. Get Game Pass. Hell, you could stream it on your damn phone while you're sitting on the toilet now, when it comes out. Just stop complaining. There's no reason for all the hatred from fanboys. I mean, we're all three pro Xbox. We all three have issues with Xbox, but not like we have with the issues with Sony. That doesn't make us fanboys. It just means we have opinions. Forgive us. Bethesda had been bought up. Leave them be. That's it. Point to the story is shut up.
Right. Yeah.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. I imagine that it is really, I mean, I don't know. I saw the writing on the wall, and I'm assuming most people did, that when you saw Microsoft buy Bethesda, you have to go $7 billion. They're going to kind of probably say, this is ours, basically, and say it's going to stay in-house, and this is our exclusive content to drive people to our console. One of the things that Nick pointed out is that the game's not coming out until late end of 2022 and possibly the beginning of 2023 if it gets delayed. By that time, Microsoft's Gaming for Everyone Anywhere might be out, and your television may have an app on it to where you can play the game. So pay the $15 a month or $14 or $10 or whatever it comes out to be when it comes out, subscription, play it for a month, and then you're done. It is what it is. I mean, I can remember being mad when I saw Horizon first came out, Zero Dawn, back when I got my Xbox One, and I was like, that game looks amazing, and it sucks that it's not coming to Xbox. But I'm not out here going, let's burn down Sony Studios and all these other studios that aren't going to share their games. I was like, well, crap. You know what I did? I'm like, how bad do I want to play this game? Bad enough that I wanted to buy a console, so I bought a PlayStation 4 for it. That's how bad it's my decision to make. And so if it wasn't that good of a game, then I wouldn't have bought the console, or I would have waited until I could have bought me a used console from somewhere, or maybe the PS4 went on sale when the PS4 Pro came out, that type of stuff. I don't get the vitriol hate and stuff like that, but I also don't get why Todd Howard had to come out and say, I'm sorry about this. I mean, maybe it is just him trying to be nice. I don't know. It could be disingenuous. It could be genuine. I don't know. I don't know their politics, but it wouldn't surprise me if they said Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be as an Xbox and PC only exclusive, but that one's been in development for a long time, and I would almost believe that they've already spent development time in PlayStation Sphere, so that would be a weird one.
I think that would fall under previous contracts. That's why, was it Deathloop, going to PlayStation exclusive?
Yeah, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo
releases.
But what'll end up happening with those games?
Will be on the PlayStation. I think it'll be Xbox.
I think what'll end up happening with those two games, though, is that they'll be timed exclusives, because now that Microsoft owns them, Microsoft's going to say, I want those on my console. How long is this contract liquidity holding me out? And they say, okay, it's a year. So in a year, those games may come to Microsoft when the contract expires or when the exclusivity contract expires. So who knows? Unless Sony actually bought the rights to the IPs, then Bethesda can do whatever they want with them eventually after their period of liquidity. But I'm a fan of gamers, just like we all are. And it sucks that I have to own so many different consoles, but it's not unreasonable and unmanageable. I mean, console prices are getting up there, but in this day and age, when people spend $1,000 on a phone, I don't have too much of a problem buying a $500 console or $400 console, because I don't need a new phone every year. And I know plenty of people who complain about not being able to play games on certain consoles, but buy a brand new phone every year.
Nick.
I don't. I've had this phone for several years now.
I have a Note 8, so I have a pretty old phone. I haven't bought one in quite a while. But like I said, I don't understand the why he apologized, but it could just be genuine or it could be disingenuous. Who knows? It could just be pandering to fans to make sure that they don't lose any fans. Nobody wants to lose fans, especially Bethesda. They're a great development company, and they want people to play their games because that's how they make money. So who knows? I was a little bit taken aback when I saw the apology, but it's theirs to tell. I mean, basically, he used the excuse of it allows them to do more lean development because they only have to develop for 2 systems rather than 3 systems. I can only imagine these companies who are developing for 4 systems, the Nintendo, the Xbox, the PlayStation, and PC. I can only imagine what
you can imagine that. Is. And then, if you think about last gen and this gen, having to develop a game for prior systems, this one, so you're thinking about 6 consoles or 6 SKUs that you're developing for, right?
Right.
Yeah, so, Xbox is what? Xbox One, Xbox,
or maybe 7 SKUs, I guess, at that point.
Series S. Yeah, it's nutty.
It is, and from my understanding, I believe the Deathloop and the Tokyo, Ghostwire Tokyo, I believe those are timed. So those exclusivities will go. From my understanding, they will. I think they're like a 6-month exclusivity on those, or maybe a year, and then after that, they'll be. More likely they'll be on the Xbox and PC.
But neither one of those games would have ever driven me to buy a PlayStation, to be honest. No. I mean, they wouldn't have done it for me. Now, my big worry this year was getting a PS5 in time to play Horizon Forbidden West. That was my big driving force. I saw that game and I'm like, I love the first one, and this one just looks amazing, and I got to get a PlayStation 5 before that. And I am lucky enough to have gotten one and shared my knowledge on how to get one with my friends, and they've all been able to get one. So all but one of us. I mean, Russ, who's not joining us.
Sans one.
Yeah, Sans one. But he hasn't even tried yet. I guarantee if we threw him in the method that we all used, he can get one. Because they are obtainable, but they are very hard to get if you're not just constantly on the beat and trying every time one comes up.
I spent 3 hours in the bathroom at work trying to get one. So my legs still
Right.
woke up.
Right. So, I mean, it's just all knowing the tactics. And right now, the tactics are just pretty easily followed. It's just you have to know what scalpers are after versus what they're not after. And that's what you have to go after first. So,
Prepare to buy
Cool.
a bundle. I mean,
Pretty much.
seriously. Yeah.
cool. So, you know,
But
I don't know
one
what to
more
think about
thing-
this.
One more thing about the exclusivity. Remember, Microsoft owns Minecraft. And Minecraft is on everything. I mean, it's on a freaking baked potato. I mean, they put it on everything. They haven't been greedy with it. They haven't kept DLC specifically for Xbox. So they may do that with some of the smaller Bethesda titles. But you're not going to see, I would think, Fallouts or Star Citizen, or not Star Citizen, freaking Starfield. Brain fart.
Star Wars,
Star Wars, Star Trek's.
Star Trek.
But you're not gonna see the big ones, I think. But I think Microsoft will push probably smaller titles.
They might. I don't know if they. I don't think they will. You bring up Minecraft. The thing about Minecraft is, from my understanding, is that one was already on those consoles when they bought Mojang, so they just left them there. Whereas these titles, Microsoft already did it right with Deathloop and Ghostwire. They could have said, "No, your contract's void. We're out. Peace." But they said no. They already made prior contracts, so we're going to let them be. But I just feel like, for me, I think that personally, Microsoft will keep them exclusive. Everything that comes out of Bethesda from this point on, I don't think you'll see anything go to PlayStation.
Right.
It would be interesting to see them change that. I just don't see it personally.
Right. I mean, you'd have no further to look than to look at Coalition Studios games, Gears of War, and Halo. Those have never gone anywhere but Microsoft stuff. So, I mean, there's a perfect example of a studios that they own stuff for, and it's their exclusive. I don't think they're going to do a whole lot. They may do, like you said, some smaller titles as timed releases, but their major things aren't. I don't think their major titles are ever going to go non-exclusive. Just because we look at Gears and we look at Halo, and there's a few others, but those are the top two big ones, I think. Coalition game making Gears, that has never gone off of Xbox and Windows.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you'll never see Halo on Sony, and you'll never see God of War.
You don't even see him on
Xbox.
Nintendo. So,
yeah, you might see him on Nintendo, Master Chief on Mario.
All right. Well, anybody else got anything else they want to talk about on this Bethesda saying they're sorry?
I would like to apologize to everybody that they apologized to, because it was stupid.
All right. Well, we hope everybody enjoyed this appetizer, and we hope to catch you on the next episode.
See you.